Hey guys, it's Kristi. We are here for our upper body strength building class down on the mat. Come into hip width stance, good size squat here, sitting the weight back into the heels. Go ahead and just let your arms hang straight down underneath the shoulders. I want you to just think about your alignment here. I want you to pull your core in, small, tiny little tuck of the tail so that you're not overextended in the low back. All right, and then broaden your collarbones, so make sure those weights aren't pulling you into a rounded upper back. We're going to come into a narrow elbow row where we bring the elbows back, and then we're going to kick those weights back, straightening into the arms, bending back in, and then dropping back down. And dropping, I don't like that word, but controlling the arms down into a straight arm. We're going to do that for 15. We're going to bend, kick back. That's it. 3. Good. And just breathe here, nice and easy, bringing your breath into your lungs, lateral breath if you can. If you want to go for a little bit of a breath down into the abdominals, you can. I want to make sure, though, that you keep engagement in that core, pulling up and in away from the front of your waistband there. I think we're about at 7 and 8 and 9 and 10, 11, so we go higher rep here, just a little bit than what we're used to, 12, much more functional fitness today, but bringing in all that we know from Pilates for our alignment, and one more. That's it. Stand it all the way up. You're going to keep your thumbs facing in towards you. Give a little bicep curl, bringing the weights to the front of the shoulders. And then we're going to extend the arms up overhead. And I don't know if you can see this in the camera, but I want you to turn your palms out when you get those arms up overhead. Then bringing the elbows back forward, thumbs facing forward as you bring those arms down. Same thing, 15 of those. We go for 2, up and down, 3, up and down. Make sure you're not using momentum, so you want to make sure you're not swinging those arms. Again, think of a nice tall spine. Core is engaged. The fronts of your ribs are reaching down to the fronts of your hips. So as the arms go overhead, you're not splaying the ribs forward. There's no back bend happening. Good. And every time I talk, I lose count, so I'm going to say 7, counting up. Hopefully that's right. Go for 8. Make sure you're really rotating those arms, palms face in, and as you lift up overhead, palms face out. Good. For 9. That's it. And 10. Glutes stay engaged. Hips are open in the front. 11, so you're not sitting back in your hips here, and 12, and 13, that's it, and 14, and 15. Good. Bring it all the way down. All right, next you have the option. This is going to be our lat pull and deltoid raises. If you do not have that resistance band, you can start with that overhead press, and you're simply going to pull the elbows down and press back up. Okay. If you have a resistance band, this is what I'm going to choose to use. Mine is relatively strong in its resistance. So I'm going to hold it up overhead and then pull it apart, and I'm going to choose to pull it back behind my head. I was playing with that, whether I would pull it in front of me on my chest. I'm going to choose to pull it back behind my head, so you want to really pull it apart. You're trying to pull it apart, pulling the shoulder blades apart, and then lift the arms straight back up overhead. You're going to pull it apart as you pull down, and then lift all the way back up. There's no need to go all the way here, so you just want to come here, maintaining that tension, pulling those scaps apart, and then reach back up overhead. We've done about 3. Let's go for 12 more. Again, standing up nice and tall, pulling your core in, especially as the arms reach back overhead. Now, there could be the option of doing one different posture in your body. That's about, I don't know, 6. You could come here back into this squat, and you're going to pull and reach. So if you want to kind of work a little more full body, you can come here, bring the weight into your heels. You're working those glutes. This might help you if you tend to splay your ribs open as you pull the arms back behind you when you're standing up straight. So that's what you don't want to do. I want you to keep your ribs and your core in the front connected. So if you were finding that that was a tendency, this might be a preferable body position to come into for this one. Okay, I'm going to guess that we've done 10. Let's go 5 more. We're going to go 5 and 4 and 3, reach long through the spine, and 2, and 1. We'll lift those arms back up overhead and drop them down in front of you. Whew. We're about to lift them up again. We're going to come into a deltoid raise. You can choose to do this with your hand weights, or you can do it with your strap. I'm going to do it with my strap. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start under that tension, and I'm probably going to have to experiment here. And then keeping the thumbs facing forward, I'm pulling the strap apart as I lift the arms up into a T and then lower the arms down. But I'm not going to come to where I don't have tension anymore, okay? So depending on the tension of your strap, you might come all the way down here. You've got the idea. All right, counting up. Here we go. 3. The trick here, if you're using the band, is to really pull it apart as you lift up. For 5 and 6, I'm going to stand sideways to you, so you make sure, just a reminder to you, to keep your posture nice and long and tall, pulling the core back. And 8 and 9 and 10. Hopefully you're starting to feel the burn in your delts. 11, I am. 12 and 13, 14 and 15. Woo! You can let that strap down and you can shake your arms out from that. Go ahead and pick up just one weight. So you want to bring one weight into your right hand. We're going into a little bit of an oblique series here. So you're going to come into a really wide stance, wider than your shoulders, turning the toes out just a little bit. We're going to reach this weight up overhead, turning the palm out. You're going to sit your hips back to the right as you reach your left hand down towards the inside of the left foot, and then lift up. So when you're lifting up, this palm is going to face forward. As you lean down, the palm faces out, lifting up and down and up and down. 4. We're going to count up to 12 on this one. And 5 and 6, a lot of shoulder. And 7, that'll give that hourglass look though. And 8 and 9, keep that up overhead. 10, 11, and 12. Bring it down with control. You want to make sure that weight stays overhead. If it starts to get away from you and not right over your body, you're going to be more in the shoulder and less into the oblique. So we're trying to even this out in between the two so they share the work, okay? Let's go ahead and come other side. Here we go. We go for 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, 6. Blow your air out on the way up for 7 and 8. No bending at the wrist. For 9 and 10. Keep that weight overhead. 11 and 12. Whew. Bring it down with control. We're not done. We're going to grab that second weight, pick it up off of the floor. You're going to come hip width apart with our feet, toes facing forward. We're going to do a wide elbow row here, so your thumbs are facing in. We're going to lift up. Weights come just in front of your chest or armpits and all the way back down with control. We're going to go for 15. We go 2 and down, 3 and down. The down is just as important as the lift up, so make sure you're using control. For 5, up, 6, up, 7, up, 8, up, slowing that descent, and up. 10, up. 11, up. Keep that core connected. Back is nice and long. Glutes are engaged for 12, up. 13, up. 14, up. Last one, up. Bring it all the way down with control. Good job, you guys. Okay, we're gonna take it down to the mat now. So bring your weights with you. Go ahead and sit down, bringing your feet in front of you. You can put your band to the side. We're gonna be taking it into a chest press and then alternating with tricep dips. Let's actually do 2 sets of tricep dips. Let's start with that by keeping your weights behind you. If you can have your hands underneath them, that's perfect. If they're too small to do that, you can just bring your hands onto the mat, okay? Separate your feet, sit bones apart. We're gonna go ahead and just lift up here. Let's send our hips slightly forward so we have a little bit more to go without those dips, and then we're gonna dip down and up, down and up. The most important thing here when you dip is that the shoulders are not starting to lift up towards your ears. So if you find that, maybe reduce your range if you're not able to keep them from doing that, to keep them under control, right? And I want you to think of directing your elbows backwards as you dip, all right? We're gonna go for 5 more, and 4, and 3. I'm hoping that was 12 total. And 2. If it wasn't, you guys add them in for me. And 1, and then sit all the way down. You're gonna move your weight more out in front of you here, and then lie it down onto your back. As I lie down, I'm just gonna kind of pop them up in my hands so that it's easy to reach them because we're coming into a chest press here. Feet are comfortably on the floor, knees are bent. We're gonna have soft elbows, palms facing in, thumbs facing back, and we're gonna close around and forward, and then open wide, keeping soft elbows. This is just like doing our hug a tree or hug a football, like I like to say, on the reformer, just doing it lying down on the mat. That's it. Good. As you do this, try not to close your chest up. Again, your elbows are staying soft and you're closing around and forward, just over the sternum, so not over your face. Don't go too high. We're gonna go 8, counting up to 15, and 9, 10, 11, same thing, controlling that open out for 12, and 13, 14, and 15. Bring your elbows down to the floor. Weights can come down to the floor. Carefully curl head, neck, and shoulders up and lift yourself all the way back up to seated. Reach your weights behind you, placing them on the floor, or if you were just using your hands, whichever works. We're going back into those tricep dips for 12. Go ahead and lift those hips up. And here we go. We dip for 1, and 2, and 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and sit it all the way down. Good job, you guys. Okay, next thing is alternating between a push-up and a backwards 100 is what I call it. So for this, you will not particularly need your weights. You can go ahead and put them behind you. You can freestyle it, or if you have your resistance band, let's use your resistance band. So what we're gonna do is, we're gonna go 2 sets of push-ups, 1 set of our backwards 100s. Flip over onto all 4s. You have options. You can stay on your knees, walking them back behind you, crossing your feet, and you're here. Make sure you tuck your tail and your hips are sitting back, or you can come into your classic push-up position. Okay, and then separate your feet. I'm actually going to turn my hands like about at a 45, angling in. So my elbows are going to be not bending out like so at a 90 from my body, but more at 45, as opposed to choosing tricep push-ups. There's obviously different ways that we can take it. Let's try for those 45. It's quite ergonomic actually for the shoulder blade. And we're going to go for 8, down and up. And I'm going to tell you, mine are very wimpy. They're like halfway, but working with it, trying to get there, hopefully building more strength through this for 4, and 3, and 2, and 1. All right, bring your knees down carefully. If you're gonna use your band, get it into one hand, and then lie yourself down onto your belly on your mat. Keep your head floating up above your mat, reaching behind you. You're gonna bring that strap into both hands. Find some tension in the strap, so you're gonna hold it pretty close. Keeping the chest and head lifted high up above the mat. Float the legs straight up above the mat as well, trying to lift the quads off, straightening through, pointing your toes. And now it's just the arms that are gonna lift and pull. And lift and pull. They're pulling that strap apart. If you don't have a strap, you're just gonna lift like this. Up and down, up and down, up and down. Breathing it out. With a strap, lift and pull. Lift and pull. That's it. Or we can all go like this. Maybe we'll all go like this together. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Last 20, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Woo! Bring it all the way down and come back up onto your knees. Thanks for moving with me, you guys. If you liked this workout, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe so you get a notification each time I upload a new video. Come over to my website at goneadventuring.com if you're interested in more full-length workouts or live classes each week. Join us. Let's do this together at any time from anywhere. I'll see you soon.